So today's video is going to be a full review of Season 1A. I mean, already done Season 7A. To be ranking every season, but I'm going to be splitting them into A and B, the first half and then the second half of the season. Then them into both halves, into two separate videos, because in terms of planning and that, it's a lot easier, two halves than one full video, and also that's going to be a really long video as well. Review each episode individually and give it a score from 1 to 10. Starting with Season 1, Episode 1. My brain is just full of Season 7. There's not always going to be like lots for me to say about each episode, but so we'll just see. But there will be video recommendations if you want to know more about certain bits, like how it started off just finding out a bit about the next step. Like the beginning bit with Kate and Grace, like that bit. I like how we saw the dancers stretching and preparing for an audition, because it felt like really natural. Chris and the dolphin tail, that's so funny, I can't do it myself. Girls was a very realistic representation of what would happen in a dance studio. Even in school, like, you get the popular cliquey girl group. The auditions for A Troop I'm not going to talk about too much, because I did a video on my channel ranking the Season 1 auditions, so if you want to know a bit more, hop on over to my channel and watch that video of me ranking Season 1 auditions. What I will say about the auditions is they were good, there were some sick moves, but I do talk more about them in that video. I'd say one thing, there will be a lot of talk about Emily and Alden, because I kind of have some points across like the full video, so Alden, there comes a point to give up on asking Emily to go out, because he was so persistent, like really persistent. Like, he just kind of needed to wait for Emily to either ask him out or just stop trying. Alden is a bit clueless in that area, because he would have stopped asking Emily out if he had a bit of a clue in that area. Say one thing. In Season 1, Stephanie will stick up for Emily, wrong or right. Michelle was definitely so sweet. I do like her, she was one of my favourite characters in Season 1. Troop auditions. I would say A Troop is better than B Troop in this season, whereas Season 7 it kind of changes and it flips, so B Troop is almost better than A Troop. In a way, if you want to see my thoughts on Season 7, I do a full review of Season A and B on my channel, so check it out. And also to how realistic the next step in Season 1 compared to like Season 7. Season 1 it looks like a camera crew came into the studio in a way. I do talk about unrealistic things on the next step, which is on my channel, so feel free to go and check that out if you want me to talk about unrealistic things, because it was a good first episode. The auditions were good, you can tell what was going to happen in the season without too much being given away. I'd rate it a 9 out of 10. The reason why it's not a 10 out of 10 is because of I wasn't keen on Alden just asking Emily to go out. I didn't ship him either. If you want to know why I don't ship them, I have a ship it and rip it video part 1 and 2, so go check that out. Next is Season 1 Episode 2. I like how they did an opening dance. I do want to know my thoughts on opening dances. I did rank the opening dances, so if you want to check that video out, you can. Not the biggest fan of Emily and Alden, because Alden was like Ozzy, and Emily was like Rochelle. Like, Ozzy would do what Rochelle would ask Rochelle out, like Alden would ask Emily out. I like how we got to find out who was in A Troop. To be honest, the E-girls, you get them in normal life, where you have a group of girls that everyone wants to be like, but to be honest, you're better off not being like them. James and Beth, you can tell had a thing, but I don't ship them. I would rather James and Riley, and if you want to check out my Would You Rather, Would I rather James and Riley or James and Beth? You can check that video out, it will be on my channel. Definitely don't agree with the e-girl rules, but they are like the typical clique where a group of girls that back each other up even when they like do something wrong. Giselle's solo she does in Studio A is so good. She has good technique, the moves were new, the moves were different. We'd never seen a lot of these moves before, so it was definitely really good. And it matched the intensity of the song. Giselle's also a unique dancer, she has her own style, she's comfortable with her style. I like how Chloe has realistic storylines, she has a job which is a relatable storyline, and that she has storylines on confidence and how she wasn't sure if she was good enough, so she didn't really want to audition for the female solo nor the ballet company. But you can tell how different Chloe was in like season 3 to season 1 Chloe. Also you can tell how different Beetroot were in season 1 to what they were in season 7. Season 1 they were like goofing off, whereas Beetroot were going to nationals in season 7. Michelle is a good dancer, and as the season goes on she has grown as a dancer, like as the seasons have gone on. Like Emily claims that it's hard to tell Giselle, but she was victimising herself, which I didn't like. And you can like change the rules or just say it if you're not going to change the rules. That's what I didn't like about Summer, like victimising yourself. Yeah, we've probably all done it, but I don't like it. Some of the e-girl rules are not necessary. Unlike the 0% Club, the e-girls had a storyline and it worked well, it's very realistic. The 0% Club was not really the best storyline. I think I do talk about that in an unpopular opinions. There's 2 parts to it, so I'd go check out my unpopular opinions and storylines I wish had happened. Unpopular opinions is just, I think it's 1 part or 2, I'm not quite sure. What they're trying to do was good, like these girls that didn't have much confidence with the 0% Club, it was good, whereas the e-girls I feel like worked a lot better because they were in every episode and it made it work. The good, very realistic episode, just some of the e-girl rules didn't agree, I'd rate it another 9 out of 10. Next is season 1 episode 3. You can tell Stephanie in this season does stick up for Emily, right or wrong, like she doesn't sort of, in a way she doesn't like see right and wrong in a way. In season 1 I didn't like because she was quite entitled, as in, really, why should Chris pick the teams? Should be down to me, the e-girl rules are like lame. Seeing Emily's the only one who matters, not about how all e-girls should protect each other. Me about Emily. Also, if you do get kicked out of the e-girls, you probably are better off without them. This is such a good dancer, he's so funny. Alden, Emily is not going to date you. I'm glad that Alden does get Emily to be his girlfriend, but I still don't ship him. Chloe having a job is like a normal thing. Like, I did like the realistic storylines of season 1, 2 and 3. Like, I felt like season 3 was when it wasn't quite so realistic. I'd say was when it started to go a bit unrealistic, but 1 and 2 definitely had realistic storylines. Mean what Stephanie did to Michelle in order for Emily to be dance captain. There again, it was also mean of Emily what she did to Michelle. I do talk about Michelle and Emily's dance when I rank the next step dances done to the same song part 5, so that's up on my channel, so check it out if you like. Say one thing I like. Emily's style in the dance, that she has a routine that's clean, and Riley definitely talks some common sense in the fact that Emily's probably halfway done a routine, they come to dance, they should probably get rehearsing. I like Riley and how she was so logical in season 1 and she had common sense in a situation, so it was a shame she lost that. Do agree with Riley in a way that Emily should have won Dance Captain fairly, not by cheating. Good episode. I would rate it 8 out of 10. There were unnecessary things, but it made up for the fact that it was realistic. Season 1, episode 4. It's nice to see everyone doing their natural thing and warming up for rehearsal. He does think she's entitled. She obviously knows what she is doing as dance captain, but you also do need to respect your teachers. Goal rule number 46 about not letting anyone else in age group look too good. Lame, not necessary. Why do you need to do that? It's going a bit too far. Girl people audition and have to earn their spots for line placements. Chloe is a good dancer. Season 1 Chloe definitely wasn't the most confident dancer, but she has good technique, good emotion. I wish on the show they could have done more ballet stuff and on point and stuff like that, because I felt like Chloe did a lot more contemporary than ballet. Tiffany, I agree with Emily. It'd be nice to see her put more technical things in her routine, because she just does the whack and turns, and that's it. That's all we ever see. Also, just more variety in general would be nice. James had some really good tricks. He does them all well, and he transitions well in his tricks. Stephanie is so not one of the best dancers on A Troop. All she did is an error on points. I don't like Stephanie's dancing. And just because you're Emily's best friends are not a reason to be on the front line. Eldon does good flips, has some good tricks, all his waves were good. I wish he didn't always flirt with Emily, I really just wish he didn't have to flirt with Emily. Roddy, you can tell how nervous she is. She's a good dancer, hard-working dancer. I liked how in season 1 she cared about the team and was a good hard-working dancer rather than getting involved in a lot of boy drama. She also has good turns. Michelle has good turns. Good aerials. Her jumps were high. The second one could have been higher, though her kicks could have been a bit straighter. Front aerial's good. Riley has logic. James is also right that it is weird Michelle got thrown in the back. I like James and Riley in season 1. Their moment where James was giving Riley water from the top of the mountain, so cute. I loved it. Emily at the start of season 1 definitely not the best choice for dance captain, but as season 1 goes on she becomes a much better dance captain. Glad when Riley does stand up to her sister and doing what's right, because when Riley does not stand up to Emily, that is a bit lame because she's letting Emily have power over her. Also, Stephanie being Emily's best friend is not a good reason to be in the front row. Good episode, not keen on the girl rules, because they just do not need to have so much power over A Troop. Well done Riley for standing up to your sister, doing the right thing. Season 1 Riley I did like. I like J Troop's dance because it was fun to watch, gives a happy fun vibe, it's clean. Not much I can really say. You can tell the E-Girls are trying to have power over the rest of A Troop. Tell the E-Girls don't really look out for the team. Eldon I just wish would back off Emily. I'd rate this as 7 out of 10. Not my most favourite episode, but we are coming to my favourite episode, season 1 episode 5. I do agree their dancing was like B Troop, because I did feel like they weren't dancing their best at the start. I feel like they weren't going as full out in the start of the season. Once they changed dance captains, they were a lot better, but I just felt like they weren't doing their best. I preferred Michelle's routine because it was better than Emily's, and also they were having a lot more fun with it, and it's just so much better. Also, everyone tried their hardest, you could tell. Emily, though, could be so mean to Riley sometimes. I like how funny West is when he tries to fish with a toy fishing rod. West sums up the E-Girls in a good funny way. Season 1 I like Riley, I like West. They're my 2 favourite characters so far, but it can keep on changing. Watch this video to see who all my favourite characters are and how much they change. I like Chloe Chloe and how she starts off not liking children in season 1 and then she grows to not mind them in season 3. Margie, you can tell, is quite mature for her age. I do like Margie. Dance Frisbee is definitely a good fun game I enjoy. I'm watching them play the game. James comes up with a good idea to like get Riley's necklace. Michelle definitely came up with a good idea to raise money for the metal detector. Also, Michelle does not have an agenda, Emily. Very fun episode to watch. One of my favourites, so I'm going to rate this a 10 out of 10. Next is season 1, episode 6. Definitely repeating storylines that carry on, like having a rival team. I've done a video on my channel talking about rival teams, where I ranked them. So if you want to go check that video out, then it's on my channel. Emily is being mean to Riley. She's not negative, she's just doing what's best for the team, and it was a bad idea to spy on them. Emily is such a bitch at times, I found in season 1. She's outwardly mean to everyone for no reason whatsoever. Alden, though, does need to back off Emily's, because it's clear that Emily doesn't like him in that way, so he just needs to live with it. Like, I definitely do agree with that. Actually, I like James and Riley in season 1 because they really like complemented each other nicely. Like how in season 1, Riley was the piece of the puzzle James was missing, and James was the pieces of the puzzle Riley was missing. I like Daniel and Giselle's friendship. I kind of wish they'd made more about it. Like, made it more of a thing, because they had such a good friendship. Beth, I don't like her obsession with James. Like, literally, I don't get why she even dated James for like 5 minutes. I think West is so funny. Daniel definitely has common sense. West does have good backflips. Like, Daniel has such good technique. Lee are good. They are crazy good. They have so much technique. Their turns, their legs, their feet, and they have so much power. I love Daniel and West duet. I loved how they used a mixture of hip-hop, ballet, and they complemented each other. It's fine. I like the storyline of how Daniel is a puppet and West is the puppet master. Good episode. Enjoyed watching it. Still not keen on Emily and Eldon. Like, Eldon just sees everything as a date. Emily's clearly not going to go out with him. I would rate it a 9 out of 10. Next is season 1, episode 7. I agree with Riley that as much as it is not right to call out the dance captain, it needs to be done because it's what's best for the team. Emily definitely got the wrong end of the stick. Riley didn't mean that no one else can help win at regionals. Michelle is on this team helping them get to nationals. Dry throat. Michelle had an amazing aerial flip. She did a good audition for Elite. She definitely figured a creative way to get herself out of the mess. Eldon, still not figured out. Emily will not be your duet partner, and she won't go out with him either. Eldon, if the girl says no, it's a no. I like James and Riley in season 1. While Daniel can turn well, and it just came out of nowhere. It was good, it was amazing, it had amazing technique. That was such a stupid e-girl rule. E-girl number 71, never call somebody by their first name unless they said yours. Ugh. Girl rule number 1, always wear appropriate clothes to dance. It's a good rule, but don't be nasty about it. Michelle, I can tell, has a tiny crush on Eldon. Like Riley, because she's doing what's best for the team, doing the right thing. Michelle is definitely a good choice for dance captain. He says she has been to nationals before. She won top dancer at nationals. She was dance captain at her last studio. James didn't know as much about ladies as he doesn't know about maths. That would kind of shock me, because he definitely is the number one guy to go to about dating. James definitely give Eldon the best advice, because Eldon really wants Emily to date him. Even as much as I don't ship him, it was quite forced. Wasn't the most natural. I feel like Michelle and Eldon were a lot more natural, and Talia and Eldon were more natural. Michelle's definitely the best dance captain, and Eldon is quite clueless about dating. Eldon is such an amazing dancer. Eldon also definitely got himself in a dilemma there. Not my most favourite episode, but could just be because I'm not keen on Emily and Eldon and hate the e-girl rules that came up in this episode. Still like how Riley's doing what's best for the team. Emily got the wrong end of the stick. She's mean. I'd rate it a 7 out of 10. Next, I'm going to be rating season 1, episode 8. Kate and Chris's duet. In fact, all the duets I talk about in ranking the next step dance is done to the same song, so I'm not going to talk in depth about the duets. Emily, as well as being mean, she has the best one-liners. Poor Chloe just has to stand on the side wondering why Eldon won't be her duet partner. The double duets are definitely not going well. Well, Eldon, what a mess. James should have matched the name of his sisters and should have mentioned the names of his sisters and give some backgrounds on his sisters. Because Piper joins the next step, there's not much background to her, so it would have been nice to have a bit more background. Wes makes a good point. He asked you first, so you got to go with who went for you first. Stephanie's just so bossy, I don't like it. Not a good idea for Eldon to do the double duet. The double duet is funny, but it won't end well. Stephanie's never been one of my favourite characters. Eldon, Michelle's definitely not happy. Eldon can be clueless at times. Eldon, Michelle's face says it all. How can you not see that? Michelle's saying, do you need a tissue for your issue is so funny. Michelle definitely would be a good dance captain because she can stand up and say this is what's right. Hey e-girl rule number 44, an e-girl always gets what she wants. I just don't agree with that. Wes says, ugh, you, is what his face says. It was funny. Well done, Wes, for standing up to Stephanie. Eldon definitely doesn't deserve to be caught up in Emily and Michelle's feud. James, I think, has good advice. Eldon made a smart move by choosing Chloe, but that's a bit shitty of him not to tell Emily and Michelle, so they could have at least rehearsed together, and if they don't come prepared, it's on them. Riley does make such a good point. Emily is definitely being rather mean to Michelle, and she does not deserve it, and they need a dance captain who keeps them together for regionals. I will make one comment on Emily and Michelle's duet. This is awkward to watch because you got the feeling they don't really want to dance together. Great episode to watch, funny, interesting to watch. Still hate the e-girl rules with a passion. Stephanie's bossiness, still hate it. I'd rate this 8 out of 10. Next is season 1, episode 9. Their dance is definitely good. Straight away you can tell something good is happening. Friday Brightest coming to the next step. Exciting. James makes a good point to Riley that she does get nervous. James is right. Riley definitely does get nervous. You can tell how awkward she is. Because if she wasn't so awkward, she wouldn't be quite so nervous. But no one did say she was nervous. Like, I can't believe no one corrected them on that. Well, James has some good tricks and does them all well. Stephanie... And I've just lost my notes, so just give me a second to get those notes back. Stephanie, do not like her dancing. It feels too slow for the music. Tiffany gives 100% personality. Do wish she'd give more variety of moves, but it was a very good performance. And personality-wise. Riley, you can tell, is nervous. And it's pretty obvious. Well, everyone does good turns. West flips unreal. Chloe's aerial's good. Michelle has a good side aerial too. James and Riley do have a lot of chemistry in season 1. I don't get why Chloe having a job is such an issue, because most people their age have jobs. Emily's routine I don't like, because it showcases her. It's not exciting, it's just all of this. The boys making animal noises, that was funny. The boys in Studio B were quite funny. Surprise! The music video they did was good. West flips were so good. James and Riley definitely had a lot of chemistry in the music video. James did something really sweet for Riley. Definitely a fun episode to watch. Jiley in season 1 was the best Jiley because there was no cheating. Funny episode to watch. Laughed a lot when watching it. Emily's still not sure about her in season 1 yet. Emily I have very mixed thoughts on, and I still don't understand why Chloe having a job is such an issue. I rate it 9 out of 10. Next is season 1 episode 10. I like Riley because she is logical, wants what's best for the team, likes to lend a hand at the studio. Definitely can tell James flirts with all the girls. Beth and James I so do not like because it's a case of Beth has an obsession with James and James the feelings are not there. James, you can tell as the season goes on that James goes from not taking anything seriously to finding a balance of fun and being serious as well as getting the stuff done that you need to get done first and then doing the other stuff. I think it's pretty good. James is showing his life story because it just gives him a bit more background, but the whole bus does not need to know. The trio competition, they talked about that, never got mentioned again. It would have been nice to talk about it. Would have been nice to hear more about side competitions rather than just regionals. Not the biggest fan of Ego War number 13. Help another ego in need because don't we ever think about lending a hand at studio? It's nice to find out about characters' family lives and just other stuff that's not just dance. It is kind of funny, the smelling of the shawarma. Smell the shawarma. What does that even mean? As funny as it is. Really not sure about James's aunt, but it's good to see our family. Riley definitely has the logic. You can tell how annoyed Riley is with James, but there is definitely chemistry there. James is definitely good at drumming, even though he's drumming on the door of the costume shop. And to understand what I'm talking about, you kind of do need to watch it. But if you watch it, you'll get what I mean. Kate definitely comes up with good ideas. Riley definitely gave James good advice on how to get his flip. James did an amazing flip. James's dance was good. The lifts, tricks, the flips, the hip hop technique. It was such a funny dance to watch. James's flip off the bench was good. Could see the chemistry between James and Riley. Good episode. Like how James and Riley have come closer. James and Beth, not a fan of. Nice knowing Beth did want to help James, though. Still not fond of the e-girl rules. I would rate it 8 out of 10. Next is season 1, episode 11. It's nice to see somebody that doesn't see Chloe having a job as such an issue, like it is nice Michelle doesn't find it an issue. Like Chloe's storylines, because they're storylines people can relate to, like not being able to afford dance, so I did like the realistic storylines and the relatable stuff. Eldon tying Emily's shoe is so not romantic, and it's kind of funny but kind of not at the same time. It's kind of awkward. Charles one of the nice characters, and definitely would make such a good friend. Definitely Michelle would have made a good dance captain because she helps people with their situations rather than making them feel bad about their situations. West flips are good. West does some of the craziest stuff ever. Daniel's leaps are high, higher than any leaps I've ever seen before. I don't like what Emily's making Eldon do. Their relationship's so weird. Like how everyone's just doing what they naturally do to prepare for an audition, Daniel's turns are unreal. West is such a unique dancer, I like him a lot. West does good flips, which he practices day and night. Every move of Daniel's is perfect. Daniel has the drive, he never shows complacency. James has some good tricks, made a good entrance. The fact he showed technique's really good, Emma is such a bitch. James is good at what he does, but you can tell that, Tiffany is good at what she does, but that's all she can do. It would be nice to see more from her. Emma is definitely rather mean to Chloe, and also to Michelle. I'm glad Michelle stood up to Emily. Well done, Michelle, for stepping up and deciding to be dance captain. Good episode. Really glad to know Michelle finally stepped up to be dance captain, because that is what's best for the team. Emily I didn't like. She was such a bitch, and she was also so mean to Chloe. I'd rate it a 9 out of 10. Next is season 1, episode 12. Michelle's right and came up with a good idea. Emily's actually apologising to Chloe. Wow, that's amazing. The e-girls I don't like. Charles' dance is good despite being in the early stages. Eldon and Emily are talking just because Emily wants information out of Eldon. I liked how in season 1 we saw a lot of age group rehearsing, whereas in season 7 we saw a lot less rehearsing. I don't like Emily's choreo because it's basic and it focuses around her, doesn't include anybody else's strengths. His choreo is not the most challenging, it needs some fresh ideas because it's quite repetitive. West is hilarious. West has some of the sickest moves ever and I can't touch. We'll admit Tiffany is a good convincing actress. Eldon, their relationship, weird. It's nice they are chatting and laughing, but I don't like their relationship. I like The Secret Knock. Daniel and Riley have logic. Stephanie is a convincing actress. Daniel, West, James, Riley and Michelle. Their accents are so funny. Good episode, still not keen on Emily and Eldon being in a relationship. Like Michelle's routine, Riley and Daniel are my favourite characters at the moment. I'd rate this a 9 out of 10. Next is season 1, episode 13. James has some good tricks, clean, quick and crisp. West has such great tricks. It's fun to watch people practicing tricks. Eldon's trick was good, but it was a bit low though. It's good that Eldon gets a chance with Emily, but it will probably happen in the later episodes. Don't ship them. Emily can be such a nosy Parker at times. His routine's bland compared to Michelle's routine. West is crazy, says the most craziest things. Emily, you can tell she is snooping. In Eldon's so-called relationship's definitely in Eldon's head. Emily is mean to Chloe. You can tell she doesn't like people wanting to know about her life, and yet she snoops. I don't ship Michelle and Eldon. but I do ship them as friends in that season. I ship them in season 2, but I don't so much in season 1 because they did go behind Emily's back. I'm glad Chloe joined the routine because she has some good ideas. Lost my notes again. This stuff in the thing. Eldon is embarrassing himself when his music stops. I do feel bad for him, but I am laughing inside a bit. It was mean of Emily to rip the papers. Found out about the Darksters is not going to end well. I would rate this 8 out of 10. Next is going to be the final episode I'm going to be talking about. Season 1, episode 14. While Emily apologises to Eldon, well, I never. E-girl rule number 39, always report gossip. Weird. Because all they do is talk, so why do they need to have a rule like that? His doing to Michelle is low, very low. You can tell she's such a bitch. Tell Emily and Michelle's drama is starting to really affect the team there. Riley and James have a lot of chemistry in season 1. Emily's such a bitch in trying to get rid of Michelle, who is on the team helping them get to nationals. Do agree with that Michelle in season 1 is a goody two-shoes, but that's no reason to get rid of her. Riley, you can tell, is trying to prevent Emily from getting rid of Michelle, who's on this team for a reason, to help them win regionals so they can get to nationals. Michelle's routine has a lot of different styles. In one routine, Riley and Chloe, they do their bit of ballet. Daniel had some good turns, West flips were good, the partner work was clean and together, the lifts were good. I don't agree with Stephanie when she says nothing's great about it. I think Michelle's dance is better than Emily's. The tutting section's amazing, the aerials are good, Daniel's leaps are high, the turning section's good. Michelle's dance is impressive. Michelle's definitely a better dance captain. Emily and Michelle's drama I didn't like. Did to Michelle. Michelle is dance captain. Yeah, I'm gonna rate this an 8 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry if it's quite long and repetitive, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.